Is qualifying for a mortgage easier than a rental property? Hi, I'm Amber Coleman with Guild Mortgage, and let's talk about this. So, a rental property. So, typically, when you go for a rental property, and honestly, if you're moving from state to state, sometimes it's easier to rent, or if you're getting your credit ready and stuff like that, it's easier to rent. But I always say, let's get you on a path of home ownership because then you own your own life. You have freedom to do what you want to do when you own your own property. So, let's talk about rentals. What I'm seeing right now, and keep in mind, I don't do rentals. I help with mortgages. So I'm a branch manager at Guild Mortgage, and I qualify hundreds of buyers yearly to close them on properties. So, but when you're looking at the rental market, you kind of have to understand the rental market to know where the housing market's going to go to, because they're hand in hand. They go hand in hand with each other. So in the rental market, what's happening right now is a lot of the hedge funders have bought the houses, right? A lot of cash buyers have bought the houses and apartment complexes as well. And the rents during a time of inflation always go up. There's so many people that need housing because of just the time in our lives that we're at right now. The amount of millennials that were born in the time frame that they were born and that are now ready for home ownership are out. So they're either renting or they're purchasing a house. A lot of them are renting houses. So when you go to get an apartment, when you go to rent a house, you're going to find that there's competition out there getting it. What I'm hearing out there too is that the people that are renting properties, a lot of the property managers are charging fees just to apply. So let's say they charge $300 in a fee just to apply for a rental property, and they do that 5-6 times. If they do that 5 times, they get $1,500 when they already know the person they're going to put in that house. So I'm seeing people waste a lot of money on application fees to get into houses. And I'm actually seeing that the people renting properties are wanting credit scores that you can more than buy a house for. Plus, in a lot of the properties where there's a lot of competition, they're wanting a lot of deposits and months paid up front. Honestly, those are tighter restrictions in a lot of cases than you would get if you bought a house. So what they're requiring for credit scores are a lot tighter than if you bought a house. What they're requiring for rent, the cost of rent, you can buy a house. Like I'm seeing apartment complexes in the city of Las Vegas go for $3,200. Not every apartment complex, but some pretty nice ones. For a 2-bedroom apartment, you can get a pretty nice condo for a lot less than that in a very comparable area right down the street. So is renting a lot harder than buying? In this current market, it seems that it's becoming that way. And it seems there's becoming a lot of things that we're probably going to see a lot of regulations on in the future if people can continue to collect a lot of application fees without any real recourse on, their intentions on, if they've already accepted a renter, why do you have to collect 5 others? You're just trying to make money off people and take advantage. So I would think that that's going to be regulated at some point. But let's talk about buying a house. So when you're buying a house, especially as we get into a place where there's more inventory than there was, right? So then you have options. When you're buying a house, you can have as low as a 580 FICO score and only put 3.5% down. You can have, and that's on an FHA loan. You can have as low as a 540 FICO score on an FHA loan if you wanted to put 10% down. The credit score requirements are very low. Most of you that are out renting have decent credit scores between, mid 600s, 720s. That is definitely what you can get. You could use that to get into a house. The down payment requirements on an FHA loan, 3.5%. There's grant programs out there that we can see if you qualify for. On a conventional loan, 3% down for a first-time home buyer. There's also programs that if you're within certain thresholds, they'll give you the 3% down plus an additional $2,500 to help with your down payment. There's so many different options out there for home ownership. And to be honest with you, home ownership, what I found in my life, there was at one point in my life that I didn't believe what I even sold, when I lost my houses. And what I found in my life is home ownership was my foundation, not just physically, but mentally too. I didn't stress as much when I didn't have to worry about where I was going to move the next year or when my lease was up. It was my creativity. I didn't have to worry about what I did to the house to be able to express myself because I had a landlord that would penalize me if I didn't. I didn't have to worry about certain things in my life, so it was my stability. It was my foundation. It was my creativity. It was an emotional relief for me so that I can push myself further in life because I owned a home. So when I hear people say, just rent right now, don't even buy, that is your freedom to purchase a house. Like seriously, because it opens so much up in you when you don't have to worry about it. What my suggestion always is if you have fear, the best way to take care of that fear is to, and this is what I did personally. I bought a house and then I didn't spend anything for a long time, and I paid extra until that house was paid off in a certain amount of years. For me, it took me 9 years to be able to pay that house off. And that's when you gain freedom. When you don't have to abide to a bank, when you don't have to abide to a landlord. You can never do that when you have a landlord. You will always constantly be in this endless cycle of rent. And every year you'll be in this cycle of, oh, what's my rent this year? They're raising it again. Oh, they're nickel and diming me to death again. As a homeowner, you own your own life. You can take that loan for 30 years, pay it off over 30 years, or you can come up with a game plan to pay it off sooner. Or you can even put it on a 15-year fix if you want a set payment. There's options for you. You have the freedom to do so. It's your own life. And I'm telling you, it builds so much more within a person. There's even been studies by Harvard that say that children that were living in a house, that their parents owned a house, their test scores were even higher than children that lived in a house where their parents rented a house. There's so many benefits to your emotional stability that has a lot to do with home ownership. So don't believe the nonsense. Don't follow the crowds. Let's get you into a house. If you want me to look at your file and get you pre-qualified, I'm going to leave my information right on the screen. I'd be happy to run numbers for you, go through a game plan for you. Let's figure out how to get you into your house and live your best life in your own home, right? Again, feel free to reach out to me. If you like this video, if you took anything away from this video, I would love it if you liked and you subscribed to my page. And thank you, and I hope you have a great day.